When it comes to fan games, usually for already existing video game franchises like Sonic or Metroid. But when it comes to shows with fan video games, they're usually a mixed bag. But luckily for us Thomas fans, we have some wonderful Thomas fan games, and a lot of them come from the website Roblox. Now, the last video I did, I talked a lot about Thomas Roblox games, but I also left out a whole lot of Thomas games that people want me to talk about. Especially Rue, including my friend group, who wanted me to include it. So, let's right this wrong and cover some more Thomas Roblox video games. Also, just to clarify, my perspective for this video will be as a player and not a developer. I have experience and perspective for both, so I wanted to mainly do the player because I feel like most people would be able to relate to that. But as a Roblox modeler myself, I'm pretty impressed with basically all these games. But with that out of the way, let's talk about the first game on this list, Really Useful Engines. This game probably has the most realistic Thomas experience you can find out there. Now, Rue is probably the most accurate Thomas Roblox game that looks like the show. Now, some realistic stuff does tend to age a little bit poorly, but I think Rue will age pretty well. It has the color choices for the game that I think will help it age better than most. But as of right now, this game looks amazing. It's so pretty. I can take an engine around the map, and it's beautiful. There is so many little details to make the game feel alive, like workmen having a chat, or just a random campsite. Also, I love the water in this game, and what is that, fish? Really Useful Engines has a whole lot of details around the map that I love, like the ones I've just talked about. I also love just the map area. While it's not completely accurate to the show, it really works well. The map is pretty big, and it's nice to just go anywhere. The locations are very memorable, and everywhere you go, you never truly feel lost, and if you are lost, it's fun to explore. Now, I absolutely love this game, and I can see why a lot of people wanted it to be on the original list. If I were to have any complaints about the game, it'd be that some buildings are floating. But that's only when you move your camera out of the way to see those buildings. And also, this game is still in beta, so that might be fixed eventually. Rue is a really good game, filled with a lot of talented Roblox developers. There are so many things I love about this game. It is quite incredibly detailed. I truly think this is your best option for a realistic Roblox Thomas game that is available to play right now. That was Rue, so let's move on to the next game. Now, 12 Happy Engines, or as someone I was in a call with called it, 12 Laggy Engines, actually has two versions. We have 12 Happy Engines, and then we have 12 Happy Engines Tramway. Now, my footage will be from Tramway because 12 Happy Engines keeps on crashing on me, but Tramway doesn't, so that'll be the game I'll be playing today. I can't tell you the differences between the two versions, but from the parts I have gotten to play from just the normal game, it looks only like really minor differences, and I think Tramway is better. I don't know if that's the case though. I could be playing the inferior version of the game, but I would prefer it if it wouldn't crash on me, but Tramway it is. 12 Happy Engines has a style that is based off the Railway series. It looks really good actually, and the faces look a little bit weird, but it kind of adds to its charm. If you thought that Rue's engines were tall, well, this game's engines are like ginormous, like they are huge. But once you do get inside of the engine, it's awesome. Like once you're driving the engine, being this massive scale really adds to the experience of the game. Being this big of a scale in a Roblox game is a little bit annoying, especially when trying to get inside of the engine and also seeing this one guard who is really big. But once you're inside the engine, all those problems basically go away because it is really cool to drive an engine in this game. Also, if you ever get into a train wreck in the game, it being so huge just kind of adds to the experience because it feels like a big thing happened, and is a little longer to clean up, of course, but I honestly think that's really cool. The models in this game are actually really good. My favorite is probably Toby. Now, I am not really a fan of some of the faces, and I can see why some people also wouldn't be. It's just a little weird, but you get used to the style. There are not a lot of Railway Series inspired Thomas games out there, and seeing one that got this popular is really cool, and I really do like this game, even if it takes forever to load and actually get inside of the game. There is actually one thing in the game that actually really bugged me about it, and that is Mrs. Kindly's house. It's not even the right color. This is not what it looks like in the Railway series. What's up with the weird green color door here? That's not even the right color green. Mrs. Kindly's house in the Railway series is white. I made a Mrs. Kindly's cottage that I made with a friend into a more accurate Railway series version than the one in the game with Railway series stuff. I mean, I doubt it's hard to change the colors just a little bit to be a little more accurate. Yeah, if you're going for a TV series version, that's fine. Well, why'd you make the doors green? That's not what it's like in the TV series. But besides Mrs. Kindly's cottage, the game's pretty good. Also, I just want to show off these little 2D texture trees. It just kind of adds to the experience. I really do like these. It's a cool way of covering up a border of a game. Even though I didn't get good footage of this, the buffers work really cool in the game. I just didn't do it with the right characters because it really did not work with Toby and Percy. But experiencing in the game is really cool to see. But that'll be it for 12 laggy engines. Let's go on to the next game. Now this next game I have a pretty good memory with. This game is NWR Sodor 1955. This is a really nice interpretation of the Thomas characters. The first time I played the game, there was this giant block at spawn that prevented you from driving the engines. It was pretty fun to try and move it with my friends. It took a while, but it did help that we had 10 Robloxians with us, and we did actually successfully move it enough for some of the engines to drive so we could play the game. Thankfully, that block is gone now, and we can play the game. But onto the game itself. This game has a really neat art style. It reminds me of like noir films in a way. Maybe it's a style they're going for. It feels like a darker version of Sodor, but not like edgy. It's just darker in tone, and I like that. And that's a nice take. It also helps that the engines are really well detailed. They're pretty realistic looking, and they don't have faces, which, I mean, it wouldn't be terrible if the engines didn't have faces, but since they don't, it kind of looks nice. It fits this art style, and I didn't ever see some of these characters without faces before, so it was kind of cool to see them with their actual smoke box doors. If you are looking for a Thomas game to switch things up a little bit, to be different, this game is definitely what you want to go with. It has a really neat art style, a whole different tone than most Roblox games of Thomas have. I 100% recommend this game. And I am pretty sure this game is still getting updates. It might not be, but I think it is. But honestly, this game is really fun to play around with, and everything feels so smooth to drive around in, which is really appreciated. I would say probably my favorite model in the whole game is Crosby Station. I'm not entirely sure why. It is a little bit of an odd pick, but it looks really nice. I don't have a whole lot to say about NWR Sodor. It's a really fun game, and just because I don't have a lot to say doesn't mean I don't like it. And that will be it for NWR Sodor, so let's go on to the next game. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm even going to talk about this next game. It was in my recommended games to play on Roblox in Friends Playing, and I found it, and it's probably the weirdest Roblox game that has Tom's characters I have ever seen. The weird part about this game is that it's actually kind of fun. It is actually kind of fun to play. I wasn't expecting this. Basically, the way the game works is that you have your arms to destroy stuff, and when you destroy stuff, you get points. The more points you get, the stronger your character becomes. And then, once you reach a certain amount of points, you level up and become a new, stronger character. Gameplay-wise, yeah, it's pretty good. But visually, what in the world am I looking at here? Like, This isn't visually appealing here. This is flat out weird. What is up with these faces? Some of the characters' faces aren't even the right one. I don't get it. Why? It's so ugly. Oh my gosh. I will admit, seeing Thomas characters with super buff arms is a little bit funny. And also, it's a little bit addictive. I've spent like 3 hours plus on this game. It is way too fun for its own good. I will admit that I do have a problem with the game, and that is what most mobile games have, microtransactions. They're only really used for skins and for leveling up, but you didn't really need them. I mean, if you want to do skins, I mean, I guess that's cool, but they're a little overpriced. I mean, takes away from the name micro, but I don't really know if that's exactly to blame on this game. But it could definitely do without them. There's other ways to make money, I feel like. Probably making the skins just a little bit cheaper, I feel like, would be a little more appreciated. Also, this game is extremely popular. Like, it has 1 million plus visits. I'm really shocked. With this game, would I recommend it to you? No. No, I really wouldn't recommend this game. It's fun. It's definitely a time waster. But it's not that fun. Just because I wasted, like, 3 hours of my life on this, I don't think you should either. It's fun, and it has a whole lot of people who have played it, but it's not that fun. You can easily skip this game if you want. It's just too funny to leave out, honestly. But, yeah, that is Train Destruction Simulator. Alright, on to one of my favorite Roblox games of Thomas. If you have ever played this game, you know it's a masterpiece. While this game doesn't have a whole lot of characters or stops, it doesn't matter. The experience of climbing up this mountain is the main point of the game. And this game has amazing looking models, even though there isn't a lot of them. And the mountain, oh my gosh, it's pretty. It's so cool being able to climb up a mountain, especially with an engine. Like, you don't usually get to do that in most games I've ever played. I don't get to play games that have mountains unless they're like 2D. Usually having a 3D mountain game, some people would find boring. And this game, I wouldn't say has any sort of action. It's not exactly a sandbox game like most Thomas games are. It's more of an adventure. You go up this really steep mountain, and you could go there, and it takes a while to actually climb it. And there isn't anything like flowers or, you know, what you see on the ground. It's actual mountain terrain. Whoever made this, which I forgot the creator's name on Roblox, they did pay a whole lot of attention to all of the details of the mountain. It feels like a real mountain. I can't say I've ever climbed a mountain before, but this sure feels like what a mountain would feel like if I were to go on a trip on a train to climb a mountain. Like, I feel like this is what it would look like. But this game is really beautiful. I love the experience of the game, the models are great, and being able to climb up this really steep mountain is just a really neat experience, and it changes up everything. I 100% recommend this game. And you probably have heard of it, and you might not have heard of it. And that is kind of a problem with this game. It has no logo and no thumbnails, basically no pictures for the game. There really needs to be something for this game for people to click on. If they don't see a logo or even thumbnails of the game, they're probably not going to click on the game. I get if you make this for a passion project, but that is a big problem with discoverability, and I feel like that it is really good, the amount of people who've already visited the game, but so many more people would play this game if it had a logo. And you don't have to spend a lot of time making it. You can just do a quick screenshot and make that your logo, and a couple of thumbnails too won't hurt. But the game really needs them, because this game definitely deserves to be seen by a lot more people. And I'll leave this one linked in the description, like I will the rest for the game. Now let's talk about the next game on the list. So I was just editing this segment and I realized I pronounced Skrunk-ly as Shrunk-ly. It's a little bit too late to re-record this, so let's just pretend I pronounced it correctly. Cool? Alright. Next up we have Skrunk-ly Sodor. Now Skrunk-ly Sodor might seem a little bit weird at first, but he's actually really fun. At first this game might not seem like anything special, but the selling point for this game is the zero gravity mechanics it has. This is honestly really fun to play around with. They have a lot of loop-de-loops, and just driving on the track is really fun. Also, you can drive off of the track. You don't have to stay on the track, and most likely you will derail and go onto the ground at one point, which is a problem I have with the game, is that you can't really stay on the track that well, and it's really annoying, but it is really fun to just drive anywhere and have all these fun little mechanics we have here. This is one of those games where it's not going to be like you're going to film anything there, it's not going to be super realistic, but it is sure fun to play around in. The art style in the game is really nice. It's very simplistic and it feels like a toy, and I kind of like that, and it fits the game that it's in. I really do like this game. It's pretty fun to play around in. Even if I don't really play it too often, it is still fun to play every now and then. This game is pretty fun. It's a pretty silly game, to be honest. And while I do not like how you can easily derail, the zero gravity mechanics are really fun and they take full advantage of that. If you're watching this video in the future, this game might look a little bit different because they are redoing the whole game and the art style. It looks more like a take and play art style, and I honestly think that it fits the game better. There's more areas where you can use the zero gravity mechanics where you're off the rails, and I honestly think that's really fun. The new version of the game I feel like will probably be the definitive way to play the game, and it'll probably be the best way to play it, honestly. I really do like this game, and I recommend that you go check it out like all the others on this list. Except from this piece of garbage, and that was Skrunk-ly Sodor. I absolutely love this game, and I definitely recommend it if you want a very silly game. Now on to the next game on the list. Now if you've heard this game, you might be thinking, Ganon, this game isn't even out yet. Why are you even talking about this? It doesn't make no sense. Well, yeah, I kind of agree, but this game looks so cool. Basically what the game is that they're going to remake basically everything in seasons 1 through 12 and make it a Roblox game. Doesn't that sound awesome? Honestly, this game has really good looking engines, and I don't know, this just looks super cool. Here's some screenshots, and to keep in mind all this stuff is subject to change, but this looks super cool, and I 100% recommend that you go check out the Discord server. It will be the first link in the description, but oh my gosh, guys, I'm loving this. I am absolutely loving the way this looks. This game honestly looks really cool, and I couldn't not include it. It would just be a little bit weird if I didn't, personally. But yeah, I'm really excited for this game to be released one day and eventually have an early access, but you know, that's all in due time, of course. But I am pretty excited about this game, and I hope that I'll get more people to know about this. But yeah, that was iOS. Even though it's not released yet, it looks like it's gonna be a really fun game. But that is it for this video. And before we end the video, I just want to thank you all for watching my first ever VTuber video. It's technically a PNG tuber, but it's basically the same thing. I'm pretty excited with how this has turned out. I'm still getting used to the controls, but yeah, I'm liking how it turns out. Thank you all for watching this. But yeah, that's enough for me, and I'll see you all in the next video, whenever it comes out. Goodbye, everyone.